Welcome into the EMA Online Video Fast Break. Mason Voth, Alec Bussey here with you from EMA Online and Rivals as we stand on the floor of Bramlage Coliseum, where the Wildcats delivered a 64-50 win over the Florida Gators on Saturday, as they were the fifth victor in the Big 12 SEC Challenge for the Big 12. As we're talking, I mean, maybe by the time you watch this, we'll know the results, but a KU win or a Oklahoma State win would give the Big 12 the victory. They just need one of those to happen because some Big 12 teams laid eggs today, like Texas on the road in Knoxville, and also TCU. They lose Mike Miles, but they lose on the road at Mississippi State. So the one thing we learned in this challenge today, Alabama found it out against Oklahoma, it's good to play this game at home. And for better reference on that, K-State has only lost one home game in the history of the Big 12 SEC Challenge, and that was the COVID year with limited capacity against Texas A&M. So playing at home definitely helps. Todd Golden said as much after the game, where he was like, I wish we would have been able to play this at home. So K-State gets the win. Outside of kind of, just the challenge itself and the little notables, the actual substance in the game, David Gasson made his return, and that, to me, seems like the most significant takeaway from today's game.
Yeah, Gasson comes back for K-State, gives him 9 minutes. I know most of those came in the first half. I thought he had a really impactful dunk there in the first half to put K-State up 22-8. At that point, it felt like Florida's will was basically broken, Mason. So for him to kind of extend a 7-0 run for K-State with that dunk, I think was huge. And then we saw him maybe tweak or roll his ankle or something in the second half, where he walks over to the bench with about 16 minutes left. And you were the one who noticed it, and comes back 5-6 minutes later, and he's able to play the last few minutes of the game as well too. So getting him back, I think, is huge. And like we talked about on the podcast yesterday, that the biggest thing with the biggest advantage of getting him back is maybe lesser minutes for someone like Bebe Ijiola. And again, not trying to be disrespectful to Bebe Ijiola, but it's clear at this point that David Gasson gives K-State a little bit more, I think, particularly on the defensive end, because we saw the struggles that K-State had against traditional bigs with Bebe in there defending the post, and obviously K-State did a lot better today with Naquan Tomlin on the post, and they did different things on the inside today too. They push-trapped Colin Castleton a lot.
Yeah, to your point, Bebe only plays just over 5 minutes in the game on Saturday, and the minutes he got in the second half were at the very end of it. So K-State has found a way, and I mean, the players talked about it afterwards. Jerome Tang talked about it afterwards. Just the way that David Gasson can move at his size and the position he plays, that gives K-State a big benefit over other teams. And I thought Gasson looked really good, and like he really didn't miss a beat and was kind of back to that level we saw him at prior to the injury, but he thinks his conditioning could be better moving forward. So we'll see what it looks like on Tuesday night against Kansas, but certainly going to be a major help to have him back in that game. The big story, as there's commotion going on behind us, that's Keyontae Johnson's family and friends that are here to take in this game, because it was a big day for him, and he struggled a little bit early on, but he still ends up with a double-double. So it's always a good day when you can have a quote-unquote bad game for yourself, still come away with a double-double. And it seems like he handled the emotions of it all very well. He took in the moments that were important to him, but also, like, I still have a game to play. What did you think of Keyontae Johnson's performance today?
Yeah, certainly not his most efficient game. He shoots 5 of 16 from the field, so it took him 16 shots to just get 13 points, and obviously a few of those came at the free throw line. Everyone's going to remember, maybe give him some crap about the missed windmill dunk. He said he slipped a little bit right before going up for that, and I can understand how that can happen. But yeah, I mean, to still be able to get 11 rebounds is huge. He's easily the best rebounder on this team. Like you talked about with Gasson coming back, still didn't give K-State a ton on the glass. He has just 1 rebound. Ish Massoud, let's see real quick, he has 6 rebounds. So clearly K-State got after some of their bigs to get more rebounds. Naquan Tomlin comes down with 6 rebounds as well. Yeah. So I wonder what happened in practice to get these guys some more rebounds. But obviously Keyontae Johnson continues to show that he's the best rebounder on this team, coming out with 11. And like you said, finding a way to get a double-double despite not having your best offensive night is pretty impressive for someone like Keyontae.
All right, let's talk about the fun part, the thing that I always enjoy when it comes down to this stuff, when we get a little tension, a little bit of, some fighting between both sides. We got that with 17 seconds left in the game when Todd Golden appeared to get, I don't know what the word would be, but he didn't appear to be thrilled when Jerome Tang called a timeout. And then Jerome Tang immediately came around and was like, he started talking to him, so there was a little bit of a conversation that went on there. Then they had a little bit of an extended conversation at midcourt after the game. It didn't seem like it was as friendly as they tried to play it off as. Certainly Todd Golden tried to brush it off like it was nothing. But ultimately at the end of the game and in the postgame, Todd Golden tells us that it was nothing. He brushes off. Jerome Tang went into a little bit more detail and basically just said, I've seen how that situation has played out before with other teams where you get pressed and you call a timeout and then you score and the other side freaks out about that. So Jerome Tang just wanted to make sure that he did everything on the up and up there. He didn't want to put his guys in a bad spot. If Florida was still pressuring, they're going to try and get out of that and get them set up. And he told Todd Golden, hey, if you're pressuring, we're going to try and score because if you're playing, we're playing. And that's what it came down to. What did you think of the situation at the end of the game between Todd Golden and Jerome Tang?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't have any major thoughts on it. Nothing major broke out. If I do remember correctly, last year's most famous moment of the season, Juwan Howard slapping a Wisconsin staffer, I think came from a similar situation where Wisconsin was pressing or calling timeouts late in the game, and that upset the Michigan bench, and then people got into it. So obviously happy nothing like that happened here today at Bramlage Coliseum.
Would have spiced things up a little bit. Florida didn't really give us much to watch. Sorry, Gators.
What a moment it would have been in Bramlage Coliseum. But yeah, I don't really have any major thoughts. I thought it was mature of the two coaches to handle it the way they did.
Yeah, those two don't strike me as guys that are going to take swings at each other. So that's also a good thing. The final thing to talk about is it's Lawrence on Tuesday for K-State, a place they haven't won since 2006. Clint Stewart was the leading scorer in that game. And Jerome Tang, if he is able to win that game, a couple of notes on that. He will become the fourth coach in the last 35, maybe close to 40 years now. It's getting closer to 40 to win in Allen Fieldhouse at K-State. So that's a significant deal. He would join Lon Kruger, Dana Altman, and the infamous Jim Wooldridge. But in addition to that, I was looking at it today, he would become the most recent coach since Lon Kruger did it to beat Kansas twice in a season. Lon Kruger did it in Lawrence, and then he did it in the Big 8 tournament later that year. So that's some of the stuff that Jerome Tang is looking for. Just briefly, because we'll have a more in-depth show on Monday recapping the game, talking about KU and some other things related to K-State. But what are your expectations for the Cats on Tuesday in Lawrence?
First of all, I'm really excited to get an opportunity to see Fog Island Fieldhouse. Everyone says good things about it. I'm sure that's going to
Not me.
Except Mason, he says it smells bad. But no, I'm actually really excited to see that game. It's obviously going to be a high-profile opportunity for each team. For K-State, it's an opportunity, I think, to maybe bury Kansas in the Big 12 standings. And for KU, it's a big opportunity to get back into things. I think after losing 3 straight Big 12 games, heading into the SEC Big 12 tournament, this weekend, it's a good opportunity for them to right the ship and get things rolling again in a positive direction for the Jayhawks. So it's a big opportunity for each team, and it'll obviously be a really tough environment for K-State.
The most notable thing to me about the game is we saw when K-State played Kansas the first time, I felt like one of the benefits that K-State had with only 2 returning players that had actually played in that game before, they didn't seem scared. They were ready to face KU, and it looked like it was the Jayhawks that were shell-shocked initially. And it's been a long time since it feels like we've seen a KU team that looked a little lost, a little confused, and in that game, and K-State was able to put them on their heels. So I don't think these Wildcats will be scared of the challenge. What it presents itself to K-State is if you win this game in terms of racing for the Big 12 title, there aren't going to be a lot of teams that go into Allen Fieldhouse and get a win in the league. That is stealing a win that the rest of the league doesn't have, and you can feel like you make up for and give yourself some wiggle room for the rest of the season. So it's an important game for K-State. Should be an exciting one, and we'll be there on Tuesday night to have the full coverage from there. As for now, head over to EMA Online, get signed up if you're not, and get all the coverage from today's game, some recruiting news. Football team had some guys in today. We also had RJ Jones, one of the 2023 class basketball guys. He was in attendance today, so a lot of things going on with K-State. We'll get you covered over at EMA Online. Then we'll be live on Monday discussing the Cats and what's up next. So that'll do it for Alec and I here from Bramlage Coliseum. The Cats get the win, 64-50 over Florida.